I think this is it. So I'm here with Gord, my good friend, one of my best friends, and he's been making a little name for himself in Newsweek and dude,
Listen, no.
I heard your name on the Hill the other day, and I was like, oh my god,
What?
yeah, Botcha brought your name up the other day.
Oh no! Okay, that's Botcha. Don't be singing my praises. We're here to pop your cherry. This is your very first live stream. And if we're gonna pop your cherry, we need to be talking about y'all.
Y'all, nothing's funnier than a Canadian saying y'all.
Well, I was just on Good Old Boys podcast on Tuesday night, so I'm trying to like brush up on my Southern bona fides. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so
who's here? Is there anybody here?
I don't know. I don't even know how to tell. I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay,
we're just talking. I'm basically doing this just like I'm recording. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Right. So the Good Old Boys also use StreamYard, FYI, for their Tuesday night live streams, which go out live and then they record it at the same time and then release it as the Patreon podcast a few days later.
Yeah, but I don't know how to record. We're just doing this.
Okay. Well, I was actually thinking about like advertising this on my own Substack. Like, you know, hey, this week I was on GOB and Year Zero with Tommy Salmons. But if you're not recording it, then
I don't know I don't know if it's recording. I have no idea. It doesn't tell me all that information. It looks like nobody's watching right now, so it's just you and me anyway. I think we're alone now.
Oh man, 80s. Wow.
So no, what happened was a while back I was wrestling with Boogie on the ground.
Yeah.
And he caught me in the mouth with his head. And you know how big his head is.
Yes.
And so it split my gums and shattered the bone across the top of my mouth. Well, I could see the split gums, but I didn't know that the bone had broken, right? So I didn't go get anything done. I just kept podcasting, kept doing my thing. I had no idea what was going on. Well, the tooth ended up dying. I had to get the tooth pulled, and I had a temporary bridge put in. Well, the other night, last week, I had a cold, and I sneezed really hard, and my teeth hit together, broke the bridge. And so last night, the bridge fell out of my mouth. And so this morning, I had to head to the dentist and get another bridge put in. So now, but it's not the right shape of my teeth. So I'm learning how to talk all over again.
What? So when this bridge broke, like
the first three teeth right here,
yeah,
that's not my real teeth.
So when they build this bridge, they can't like just put your old teeth into it. They can't factor that in. They need to build new ones.
No, because they take a mold on the spot and build you a bridge on the spot. Well, I have a permanent bridge coming, but because they're trying to get the gums to heal together, they don't want to put it in yet. So,
you know, it's funny. I have two sisters, and my youngest sister is like a dentist assistant. Like she's basically like the only thing keeping her from being a dentist herself is the degree, right?
Yeah.
She's been doing it forever. But anyway, I'm going to run this by her and talk about bridges when I see her next weekend. We're going to a Halloween party at her house.
But, I mean, those aren't the kind of bridges we're here to talk about. So.
No, we're talking about the ones that the Ukrainians attacked between Crimea and Vladimir Putin.
Well, you've been doing a lot of work with Newsweek, and I mean, how many articles have you published with Newsweek?
No. Let's not.
No,
try.
this like seriously, like you're doing a really good job.
No, let's keep it modest. I've written 5 op-eds for Newsweek. They do thousands of op-eds a year. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Right, but you're uniquely targeting a specific subject that a lot of people aren't talking about, and I think it's important we talk about like what you're writing about and what's going on.
Yes. Okay. So let me give you the backstory on Newsweek, which is a continuation of a backstory elsewhere. I went on this podcast called What's Left with my buddy Oliver a couple of years ago, talking about trucking stuff, right as like Wuhan plague COVID nonsense had started hitting. But I'd already done a couple of blogs talking about trucking.
I remember when this happened.
Yeah. So anyway, the Freedom Convoy thing happened, and you'll remember that when I came home, the Sunday that I came home from Ottawa, I recorded with you and B. And I had been live tweeting from the Freedom Convoy. I posted a number of videos. I was doing my ranting thing, like little tweets about what was going on. And Batya Unger Sargon, who's the deputy opinion editor at Newsweek, and his buddies with my friend Oliver saw what I was doing and asked me, hey, do you have something to say about this for an American or the Newsweek audience? And I'm like, sure, I'll write something for you. And I guess it was a big hit. And she asked me to write more, and I ended up doing 5 articles for her. Botch's mission is to try and give people in the working class more of a voice. So she seeks out people. There's another young guy from Texas named Charles Stallworth, who she's also published quite a few articles for. If Charles is out there, g'day, Charles. Nice work. He's a railway worker. And given all the railway strikes or looming strike that's been coming and going for the last few weeks, he's written on that. He's also written more on the cultural issue side of it, because like Charles lives in Houston, and he's sort of seen like, the sort of effects of illegal immigration on the labor market and stuff like that. Right. And so Charles writes on that. And that's like I say, that's Botch's mission. So she's had me on Newsweek, and then just sort of being online and having the imprimatur of Newsweek, I've been asked to write things for the American Conservative, for this new sort of like right cultural but left labor magazine called Compact. I did an article for them. I'm supposed to do another one, and it keeps getting pushed back because, well, A, I've got 2 kids and I also work 60, 70 hours a week, and B, like I've got a couple other writing gigs. So this I've been asked to contribute a chapter to a book on examining and analyzing just why it is that the left rolled over to COVID and allowed authoritarianism that they would normally, following leftist scripture and leftist ideology, they would, under other circumstances, they probably would have objected to everything, but they didn't. So this book wants to examine what went on, and I've been asked to contribute a chapter with regards to the Freedom Convoy in Canada. And then I've been asked to review another book that's an academic study of the effects of the surveillance state on truckers, ELDs, driver-facing cameras, Qualcomms, all this shit. This woman who's a professor at Cornell University, which is 8 miles from my house, her book is being dropped. It's coming out in December, and I got an advanced copy of it, and I met her, and I'm supposed to write a review of this book kind of from the perspective of somebody who's like an object of her study, and give my perspective on what she's saying as a non-member of the academy, as somebody who's outside academia, outside the traditional media, who doesn't have, I don't have any like letters behind my name. So I've got these 2 major writing projects I'm supposed to be working on, and I'm not because I'm too busy working and I have 2 kids and then all this other stuff. And I'll also spend too much time on Twitter because at the same time, this Public Orders Emergency Commission is going on in Canada, which is examining the invocation of the Emergencies Act by Justin Trudeau to push all the trucker protesters out of Ottawa. And it's turned into a big shit show. And I can't take my eyes off it because, like, it touches 2 things about me. A, I'm Canadian. B, I'm a trucker. C, I like liberty and I like people being allowed to do what they want to do. And the Freedom Convoy conflict with the Canadian government touched all those bases. So, like,
Right.
I'm just, my wife thinks it's a waste of time, and maybe it is, but I'm just kind of glued to this Public Orders Emergency Commission and trying to like take it all in and process it, and also look at it through this lens of having gotten to know a bunch of other writers and a bunch of other sort of people that are doing class analysis and labor stuff. And, you know, even still to my old homies in the libertarian movement. And I'm just trying to like sort all this shit out and process what has gone on, and also like fit it in with like my own problems with the downstream effects of like the Wuhan plague psyop or the COVID regime, whatever you want to call it, because like I've also been affected greatly by being shut out and or what you might call given the silent treatment by certain members of my family because of my outspoken support for the Freedom Convoy and skepticism of the COVID regime. And it's just, I've had all kinds of trouble with like my own family, my wife's family. It's been a bit of a challenge, and all of this like writing and stuff I'm doing is part of that. And I've just been really, really busy. And the fact I got like picked up by Newsweek and all these other outlets, my head is still spinning. Like, how did this happen?
You're working your ass off, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we do, right? Like, we just work our ass off. We just do what we can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one of the things about the Freedom Convoy is that Trudeau decided to pick a fight with people that work their asses off in the worst conditions and thought he could win. And he's not winning.
Let's get into what's happening here because, like, I know there's a lot of new information on this. So,
well, it's not that it's new information; it's that the Public Order Emergency Commission, or PEOC or POEC or whatever the fuck it's called, is providing. It's not going to. Its mandate is not to like hang Trudeau or assign blame or anything. What it is it's like a government fact-finding mission, and it's all on the public record. It's presided over by a judge, and the testimony is all under oath and on the public record. And like there's 65 witnesses, and it's a bunch of different people in the government, cops, CSIS, who is just like the Canadian equivalent of like the CIA or FBI combined, Ontario Provincial Police, RCMP, some of the Freedom Convoy organizers and spokespeople. And the purpose of this commission is to find out if the Emergencies Act invocation was necessary, and if not, what they need to do to like tighten it up to make sure it doesn't happen again. Trudeau's not going to get hung by any of this. The Freedom Convoy is not going to get hung by any of this. It's basically a fact-finding mission. But what it's useful for is that because it's facts, there's no like media getting in the way of it. There's no government money getting in the way of it. There's no like intermediary. It is a judge. It is the direct testimony and facts, and then examination of those facts by a bunch of lawyers to determine exactly what went on. And it's been going now for a week and a half. And basically, the commission has found that everything that I was saying and supporters of the convoy were saying was true.
Yeah.
And it's basically disemboweled Trudeau's narrative about it and brought the receipts in the form of testimony from the chief of police of Ottawa, the superintendent of emergency services of the city of Ottawa, the intelligence superintendent of the Ontario Provincial Police, fucking CSIS, all these government agencies that were telling Trudeau, these people are only peaceful protesters. They only want to argue these points about the mandates, and they are not a threat. We have no reason to believe they are a threat. But then Trudeau in the media tried to paint us all as like Nazi heathens that are coming to overthrow the government, that are full of violence and hate in our hearts. And now this commission is showing this entire narrative driven by Trudeau and the sycophants in the subsidized Canadian media ecosystem was bullshit, which is what I've been saying and a number of other people have been saying from the start. And we are being vindicated, and that's what's going on. And that's why I can't unglue myself from it,
Right.
because like I am being proved that I was fucking right.
Did you there were a lot of people that lost access to bank accounts and things like that. You didn't have any issues like that, did you?
Well, no, because I don't live there anymore. I mean,
no, but weren't they working overseas too? Weren't they working internationally?
Only maybe, I don't know 100% on this, but maybe only insofar as where international banking interconnects for people in Canada who do business outside of the country and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still have a bank account in Canada. I have a line of credit in Canada. I have a credit card in Canada. Mine didn't get interrupted with. I don't know why, but whatever. They had their sights set on some other people. I guess when they did this invocation of the Emergencies Act and brought the financial hammer down on people, it was somewhere between 200 and 300 people that were affected. Ultimately, that's who they went after. And that's because it was I wouldn't call it a bluff, but it was a message. They used these 200 plus people to try and scare the wits out of everybody else and to make a statement that, your dissent is not allowed. And there was a really good video I reposted on my Twitter a few days ago. There's a lawyer who's representing the Freedom Convoy people at this commission and at a charter challenge thing, which got hammered the other day. But anyway, that's another story. His name's Keith Wilson. I think he's from Calgary. Very prominent lawyer in Canada, like big shot lawyer. And I didn't even, he was interviewed on his way to this commission, and he said some things that even I was unaware of just how bad the government's intervention into people's financial lives, right? So like,
right.
Originally people thought it was just their bank accounts being frozen. Well, actually it turns out that not only was it their bank accounts, it was their bank accounts, their credit cards, their insurance, their investments, their assets. Basically, this legislation, anybody who was targeted by the government, their entire financial life was run roughshod over by the state. So like, you literally couldn't make a mortgage payment on your house if you had been targeted by Trudeau. You could not, your insurance was canceled on your house, your vehicles, your business, everything. Anything that was a financial instrument or insurance or an investment was canceled. They literally like shut you off from everything. It wasn't just your bank account. It was much deeper and much like worse than originally thought.
Well, and this is what I've been saying about ESG. Like, this is what the goal is, to be able to pinpoint the quote unquote enemies, shut off their any financial backing, and then bend you to their will, because you can't eat, you can't live, there's nothing you can do without access to your finances.
Well, this is it. This was the flex that they were trying to do, because this is the nature of the new economy, right? Like they can't legally prevent you from saying what you want to say. They can't throw you in jail for holding the opinions that you hold. So they come after you in other ways, right? And then they justify it with like all this bogus nonsense, like calling people terrorists. And like I say, all of this stuff is being disassembled.
Well, they've weaponized the financial institutions.
Right. And to your point about ESG, there's like actually a growing pushback against that. There's states now saying that like ESG doesn't apply in this state.
There's also companies that are fighting back against it. Yeah, for real. I've been trying to keep up with everything day by day and put it out on my Substack so people can see it.
Yeah, I see that. Like I might not respond, I might not comment or hit the like button because I'm like busy, but like I see every one of your Substack posts comes into my inbox, Tommy, and I'm paying attention and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, but because that's like been one of my goals. Like when I found out about ESG, I was like looking at it, I was like, holy shit, this could fucking backfire on everybody.
Yeah, and you were one of the first people. I think you were the first people to ever mention it to me. You and my buddy Brett up in Toronto were the first two people I ever heard.
Brett
Yeah.
Haas?
Yeah, Brett's been on top of the ESG thing for a while too.
We had a really good fucking episode when we recorded together. I need to get him back on and talk about what's going on nowadays, especially with the gain of function research and all that. Because he's so good on the medical field.
Yeah, he really knows what he's talking about. Brett's great. But yeah, so yeah, things have been really busy. I've been trying to do some writing, and I wish I could do more, but man, it's hard when you've got like a couple of little kids and a wife and a family and a homestead and all this work, and I just and I should probably like try and like be less on Twitter and more focusing on trying to write. But this, like I say, this Public Orders Emergency Commission, just because it's basically confirming, not that it's confirming my biases or my own experience, but it's good to see because it's one of the only W's we're going to get.
Yeah.
Like because of the nature of the parliamentary system, Trudeau can stay in power till 2025. He doesn't have to, he can run out the clock on an election till 2025. And this fucking idiot Jagmeet Singh is going to help him with that. There's no accountability available from the commission. It's just like a fact-finding thing that's going to make suggestions about using the Emergencies Act in the future. It's not going to heal anything. The only thing it's going to do is confirm the facts on the ground and put it on the public record, which is still useful. So, anybody that wants to chase that up, just like punch in hashtag POEC on Twitter and it'll all come up. Follow people from Canada like Rupa Subramania, who's a reporter for National Post. Keith Wilson, who's this big lawyer from Alberta.
Is Rebel News following it?
Rebel News is following it, and some of their people. But this is funny though, like one of the problems in the Canadian media is that it's subsidized by the government. So all the mainstream people, CBC, CTV, Global, the Globe and Mail newspaper, a lot of the newspapers, Toronto Star, they all get handouts from the government. So they won't actually report the truth. So it gets left up to, weirdos like Ezra Levant at Rebel News or Andrew Lawton at True North Center and his people. The True North Center guys have been on top of this. I mean, all these little guys aren't without their faults and their own little hangups and stuff, but like at least they're covering it properly.
Well, yeah, when they're not bought.
Yeah, because they're not bought. They're not bought by the government. Like like the people that watch your show and listen to you are mostly Americans. The people that like read my stuff at Newsweek are mostly Americans. I'm the intermediary between. I like to think of myself as like an intermediary between like academics and truckers on the trucker side of things, and then like Canada and the U.S. for people here in the U.S. that aren't necessarily clued in on what's going on up north.
Right.
And the Canadian, I don't think Americans quite understand. Like the United States media is equally fucked up, but for different reasons, right?
Right.
In Canada, it's basically it's divided between those who take money from the regime and are loyal to it and are like our establishment and have been around for a long time, and then like all these little upstarts out on the fringes who don't take money from the government and can say what they want. So it's like it's almost like Soviet area. Like there's like a bunch of pravdas who take money from the government, and then some other little places that don't. But unlike the Soviet Union, the little places don't get crushed and their people don't get thrown in jail, at least not yet.
Right. Well, I sent you an article earlier. I want to kind of shift our attention a little bit because I sent you an article earlier saying that America is on the last 25 days of diesel reserves. And so we're going to see the price of diesel go up, and we're not seeing the wages of truck drivers go up.
No,
What do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think
I
there are
don't
going to be a
know.
bunch more people drop out of trucking? Because part of the reason you and I aren't over the road anymore and aren't trucking the way we used to truck is because it's not there financially. It's like it's not worth
Well,
me being gone.
it's not there financially, and B, the material conditions are not there either because you just get treated like garbage everywhere you go, right? As for the fuel situation, like I don't feel like I understand enough about the energy distribution system to comment on it, but like yes, that article you sent about the lack of diesel tracks with the lack of capacity. Um, the a lot of people, people in the know, I should say, are correct when they point out that like it's not that we don't have oil. There's a lot of oil kicking around the market. The price of oil isn't the problem. It's the upgrading capacity and the distribution capacity. And the upgrading, which is to say refining, has been like demonized and overregulated and taxed to shit so badly in the United States and in Canada for so long now that a whole bunch of refineries have closed. Like we've talked about this before. Like dozens of diesel refineries in the US are no longer functioning. They're just closed.
Right.
You know, and then I get people like my in-laws and various progressives who are like, "Whoa, the oil companies are all on making record profits." No, 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 no. The oil companies that are still standing are making very good profits
Well,
because you guys killed all their competition.
well, here's what a lot of people don't understand. The oil companies like BP, Exxon Mobil, like the oil companies that the average person knows, they're not the ones drilling for oil. That they contract out to like BP or fucking Halliburton or something like that to do all the drilling and to do all the like hard work, right?
Yes, of course.
All they do is they refine the oil and they sell it.
Yeah,
That's
they're
all
more.
it that's all Exxon does. They just refine oil and sell it. And so like they don't understand that the way that the market works. And I've tried to explain this that just because the CEO of BP or the CEO of Shell or the CEO of ExxonMobil are on board with this whole ESG standard doesn't mean that the whole oil like refinery system is, right? Because all they're doing is they're running the companies that refine the energy so that you and I can get it. Well, they can it's a land grab. They can go out and buy land and put solar panels up, right? But oh boy, fucking running the fucking like tapping the holes and fucking pumping the cement down into the fucking holes. He can't. What is he going to do?
Yeah. Um the whole thing is very messy. And as far as it goes with like getting back to trucking and labor, like I got notified by my employer this week that I might be getting laid off. The
Oh,
situation,
shit, man.
well, no, the situation with the fuel price has been so bad for so long. He has lost money on his trucks for
And what
basically.
I mean, no, but you have to tell everybody what you're doing.
So I haul logs. I live in upstate New York. I haul logs.
So if so, the price of lumber since January has gone up by probably 50%. I mean, it's high right now. And you're talking about logging
Depends on the
company.
lumber. Depends on what kind of grade of
Well,
timber you're talking
I
about.
work for a lumber company. We're waiting on the prices to drop so that we can fulfill some of these contracts we have with some of these contractors.
Like softwood framing lumber or
Yeah.
hardwood. Yeah, so I work in hardwood, which is different.
Oh, okay, okay,
Right.
okay.
So softwood framing lumber and framing timber, that's a different kettle of fish. The market I operate in, it's flooded. Inventories are really high, and it's the one of the mills that my boss sells logs to has dropped the price that they're paying for the timber like 3 times in the last 2 months.
Jeez, man.
So basically, they're not willing to pay for the logs. They've maxed out on the fuel surcharge they're going to give to the logging truckers to bring the logs to them. So we can't make any more money. My boss has lost money on his trucks since April. The only reason we're still operating is because the other side of his business, the hustling, the buying and selling of logs, requires the trucks to get the logs to the mill. But now the one mill's not buying anymore. So now he's trying to pimp us out just to truck logs for other people. But the price of fuel's got so high now that like he's just not making any money.
Right.
And
And before this, you're running propane or gas,
yeah,
right?
I was hauling propane for a large propane
Well,
distribution company, but
that's not a guaranteed fucking market either right now.
well, yes and no. People, the home heating in the Northeast, in the northern part of the United States, people are going to buy propane. They're just going to have to eat it. Like they have to buy their propane. So that was a little bit more insulated. My problem with those guys is they're a big corporation and they're just fuckwits and I didn't like working for them.
No, but I'm just saying, like where you're at, like your options are so limited. It's
Well, there's always work. The limitation, the options are the short options are the fact that like nobody wants to pay. Like I could work anywhere. I have options to work, but none of it pays worth a shit. So what's the
yeah,
point?
yeah.
Like I might as well just go on unemployment and then keep writing on the side as a side hustle because actually working for a living, and this is bigger than trucking, right? This is way bigger than what you or I do. This is going on in so many other sectors of the economy that like the inflation, the cost of living, just everything is eaten into the wages of the average person, the average blue collar working person or like lower end middle class person that like we can't keep up and nobody wants to pay us more because the costs of everything else to operate a business have eaten into what you could give your workers as wages. Like the whole thing's fucked up. And like there's nobody that wants to pay. So like we're getting into this like territory of like the old Soviet joke. They pretend to pay us, so we pretend to work. So
yeah.
like they're not even pretending to like give us enough money to keep up with inflation or keep up with anything. And like nobody gives a shit. Like the American economy, I hate to make a broad sweeping generalization here, but the American economy in toto has just given up on caring about the people that actually work in it and make it function. Unless you're in the management side or like some PMC job or got a credential at the top. If you're anywhere below those folks, they just don't want to pay. They're just waiting to like, they just want everybody to be a Filipino or a Chinese person working for nothing. That's the expectation now. And if you don't like it, too bad. The problem is like, I can't, you or I cannot like afford or the average working person can't afford the basics, the necessities, having a house, paying for a car, vehicle, insurance, groceries, all the basics are through the roof. Sure, great. We could go to fucking Walmart or Costco tomorrow and buy a flat screen TV for $80 or whatever, and that's great for the like neo-lib or libertarianish types folks that say, "Oh yeah, but like you can get all this cool cheap shit from China." I don't want the cheap shit from China. I want to be able to buy a property, own this house. I rent the place I live in. I want to be able to like establish and build something to leave my kids. And right now, I can't do that. Millions of people can't do that. And all the cheap shit from China in the world does not make up for that. This is the disconnect in our economy. There's all kinds of cheap stuff to offset the fact we're not making enough money, but the stuff that counts is still super expensive and only increasing in price.
Right.
We need to be able to afford the stuff that counts, or the price of the stuff that counts has to come down somehow. And neither of those things is happening. And all the cheap shit at Walmart or Dollar General or whatever fucking store you want in the world doesn't help.
Well, and I've been driving a truck since it's been 20 years now. And so I was 23 when I started driving a truck. Got to the point where I'm making as much now working local as I was making over the road.
Yeah,
and that's a big problem for over the road fucking trucking industry, because people like you or me with 20, 30 years of experience driving, being over the road, understanding how to operate machinery and how to get things from point A to point B safely and without incident, we don't want to deal with all the bullshit and the headaches that we're being offered.
Well, yeah, and I mean the only reason that this difference exists is, and we've talked about this before, and I've talked about it in a number of other places, is
Can't
that
say it enough, though.
they're able to keep throwing more bodies at this, and they're able to keep finding more and more desperate people that have an 88 IQ and a heartbeat that they can give them a CDL and send them out on the road. And I can only talk about that so much before I get tired of talking about it, because nobody's listening, especially the trucking industry. And one of the funny things, like you mentioned, that like, I'm popping on Newsweek, I'm writing in all these places. The trucking media won't touch me. I have talked to Todd Dills at Overdrive Magazine, the Landline guys, the OOIDA guys. They just ignore me. The only people in the trucking media that'll talk to me at all are the Freight Waves people, but they're freight nerds. They're like data analysts. They're not really like a trucking magazine or driver facing thing per se.
Yeah.
But like all the old institutional trucking media people, I've tried. I've offered to write op-eds for Overdrive. Can't get a fucking word out of them. And I know a couple of the people at Overdrive. I've talked to Mike Matchasek at OIDA. He knows about a thing I had cooking with Thomas Massey for this old Transport and Infrastructure Committee thing in 2018. There's all just I have all these different connections with the trucking media, but like they won't pull the trigger and have me say anything under their banner. They just don't want anything to do with me.
Why not?
Because A, they're insular. B, they're insular and territorial, and they're covering their own asses. They probably think I'm competition. Also, I say things that are going to upset their advertisers.
Yeah,
rocking the boat too much, right? So like everybody will acknowledge the truth and the facts of what I say, but help spread that message? Not a fucking chance, dude. No way.
Yeah, for sure. And but that's why I love like chatting with you, because number one, you're not afraid to like lay it out there. This is the way it is.
Exactly. I got nothing to lose. I mean, I got my wife and my kids, but like some idiot at a trucking magazine is not going to take my kids away from me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know the damn atmosphere we live in. They might be able to convince the FBI to raid your house. So, geez. So what are you making of the supply chain? Like, do you see any relief coming?
Well, the supply chain has many links. It's hard to say. Again, I don't want to be Mr. Prognosticator. You would need to get Huntsman on here to talk about that, or
I can't get a hold of him again. I've had him
Oh,
on
he's-
once, man. He's so hard to get a hold of.
Oh, he's so busy. Well, his profile, like we got to meet him like right before he took off into the stratosphere.
Yeah. I think I had him on like 2 weeks before he was on Blaze TV.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like I don't ever hear back from him.
Oh yeah, no, dude. It takes him 2 months to answer one of my emails. He's just too busy. Which is fair enough, you know. But
no, I'm not mad at the guy.
No,
it's
neither
just
am
hard
I.
to get in touch with him.
Yeah,
like,
no, he's well sought after.
I have his phone number. I try to call him. It's just I can't get in touch with him right now.
He's a busy guy because he's competent and he knows his shit. So he's sought after and good for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, as far as supply chain, like I don't want to be a doomer, but like at the same time, the price of fuel, if they don't figure out expanding diesel refining capacity, we're in for a whole world of hurt. The boat stuff seems to have like leveled off. I guess the boats, the sort of whiplash, whatever effect.
Well, he had warned me the strike that's being threatened. He had warned me about that in 2019 or 2020, whenever I had him on. He had told me, he's like, there's a potential strike coming in 2022. And watch it. And it's like, all right. Like,
yeah,
so,
I haven't heard too much about, it was the West Coast ports with the Longshoremen's Union and stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't heard too much noise about that. I know the train thing, like they were talking about striking a couple of weeks ago, and then like the Biden administration intervened, but now it went back to the members and they're still not happy, and that might be a thing. Again, I don't pretend to know enough or have a crystal ball, but everything is still very much in flux and everything is still weird. It's still weird and hard to nail down.
Yeah, it's kind of nightmarish watching it all take place in front of our eyes, because we're like, when you and I were young, driving truck and doing our thing back in the day, it was like we're always busy, and now it's like it's a toss up.
Again, I don't know. I know you want to talk about supply chains, but I don't want to prognosticate about stuff.
Well, it's not even I'm not even talking about supply chains. I'm just talking about what we see on a daily basis.
Well, I mean, everything is so effed up, right? Like culture is effed up. The blob is effed up. Biden's effed up. Everything that we, like you say, when we grew up, things were a lot more stable, and now they are not. And like they are not stable. Like, did you ever see footage of the San Francisco earthquake in like 1989 or 90? Like, I think Bush the elder was president.
Yeah.
And like that one, there was this really famous video footage of like a bridge waving around.
That was the Golden Gate Bridge.
I don't know if it was a Golden Gate. It might have been a smaller one, but anyway, it's just like, imagine, if you will, how unstable things are, and then have that image of a bridge waving around in your mind. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with basically everything. Right. And so it's difficult to like to make any predictions based off that. Like, I listen to black pillars, to white pillars, to survivalists, to like status quo, to like everything's fine, to like new right versus old right, Tories versus Whigs. What do we do about the Rainbow Coalition? What do we do about all this woke stuff? You know, the schools are a shit show. They're trying to like turn all your kids into trannies. Like the whole thing is a mess.
Well, it is a mess, but it's like right along the lines of Fabianism, right?
Oh, they got their yeah yeah. I remember the first time I ever heard about the Fabians was from Coop.
Oh God, that guy. Maybe we should have brought him into this.
Yeah, I think he's working tonight. I tried to invite him to watch, but he informed me about the Fabians, and like their project never went away. And there's other people who are working on that same project, like from different angles.
I just got this book in yesterday.
Oh wow, man! I want to come to your house and just read all your books.
I want to read all my books.
Well, both of us are always being robbed by the time bandits.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Man, F them guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I you know, I know like where your mind is and where your heart is and what you're trying to work on. And I'm watching and I'm seeing what you're doing. And I'm like, I love where Gord's going with this. Sometimes I think you're missing like pieces though.
I'm always missing something. And like, I like to, that's why I always preface, like, I'm just a dumb truck driver and I can only speak on certain things. And I'm happy to be told what I'm missing. And, you know, that's part of the whole learning process. And if people want to correct me about stuff, I'm open to it. That's fine. You know, even from people who are lesser truckers than I am.
Is there, do you, all right, like,
I'm kidding.
Keep Quincy out of your mouth.
Hey, if Quincy, if you're watching, I hope you're making them stacks, buddy.
You know he is.
Yeah,
you know he is.
Yeah, he's out there. He's out there hustling somewhere, and good for him.
Yeah, he was actually coming. He was making a point to come by like once a month, because he was on a route that was bringing him down this way every month. But then last time he was supposed to come by, he got rerouted, and I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah, he's busy. I mean, he's doing lots of push-ups according to Twitter. He's walking back and forth between the front of the trailer to the back of the trailer.
Hey, that's not an easy walk, man.
No, I mean, 53 feet it's better than 0 feet.
Yeah. That's why I started bringing a dog with me over the road, because it made me get out of the truck and do shit.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you just get all cramped up and you're just sat there, and you got to move around.
I mean, then at the end of the day, you don't want to do anything because you feel like shit because you've just been sitting there all day.
Yes, you have to move around. You have to get some cardio. You have to do all that stuff.
Yeah. So good for Quincy. He's doing a good job, man. He's actually last time I saw him, he had lost like 40 or 50 pounds.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Hey, where's Beatrix?
I don't know what she's doing right now. I can text her, I guess. she's in one of those other rooms over there.
All right, let's get serious again. What's the next question? Where do we get off on tangents?
Oh, well, I don't know, man. Like, what do you think is coming down the pike? What do you think is coming for trucking?
Well, this is something I'm trying to explore with my new writing project with autonomoustruckers.substack.com. I don't know, and I'm trying to find this out myself. It's a good question, Tommy, and it's so this woman, Karen Levy, who I'm reviewing this book, she wrote. It's coming out in December. It's called data-driven truckers and the new workplace surveillance. And in it, she's trying to study the effects of all of this surveillance technology in trucks, like right from the original Qualcomms to ELDs, driver cams, all that shit. And oh, hey B,
Hi,
how's it going?
good on you.
I'm well. Are you making a really
Can you
nice
hear?
meal
Yeah, I
for
can hear.
Tommy?
What's that?
I said, are you making a really nice meal at the moment? You just hanging out? You playing with the dogs? What are you doing?
Playing with the dogs, but I'm gonna make like burgers, real basic bitch burgers too. Nothing extra.
No, that's perfect. Come to my house. My wife is a vegetarian. I don't even get basic bitch burgers. I have to cook them myself, and I usually don't.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Well, I mean, like black bean burgers are good. I've had those; they're pretty good.
No, cows or bison. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's preferable, but I mean, I've had black bean burgers before. Can't make it myself though. If your wife makes them, kudos to her. Because I tried when I went vegan for like 24 hours or something like that. I tried. Everything I made went into the dustbin. Like, could not fucking do it.
Not
But-
everything. There was that one thing he made that was pretty
What
good.
the fuck was it?
I don't remember what it was called, but it was a bowl.
Oh no, like a Buddha bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But burgers, stuff like that, horrible. I couldn't make it work.
Listen,
make
no,
it work.
here's the deal, Beatrix. You cannot best nature. So all of this like fake meat shit and trying to
Oh,
do
no.
things vegetarian,
Yeah.
you cannot beat nature. You just have to go with nature.
Got to add some egg to it.
At least. At least egg. Yeah, but I will say in that line, I did when I went vegan for that little bit, I bought like hot dogs, right? Like, you know, hot dogs, like the plant-based hot dogs, and I swear to God, they tasted exactly like fucking hot dogs without the nasty shit, right? So that was actually pretty good. But I really tried very hard to make like vegan burgers, veggie burgers. I tried the black bean stuff in the dustbin. It ended in the dustbin. It ended up every single time. But
Well,
I've had one, and it's actually good when it's not made by me.
all right.
When it's made by someone else, like a restaurant.
That reminds me, I'm gonna go into my freezer and take out some like venison pork mince and make myself some sausages tomorrow. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tell-
do that.
Tell Tommy to get out there and get some deer. I'm sure there's deer in Texas, right?
Yeah, they should be deer. I've seen one. You've seen plenty. I have not seen any,
They
but
like to drink from our pond.
yeah.
Well,
I mean,
sit out there with a crossbow and just grab one. You know, it's not that hard.
Bring me a crossbow.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, he's gonna bring the crossbow.
He's gonna go get his
He's
crossbow.
doing it now. Oh, Jesus.
Yep, that's a crossbow.
Do you use that? Can you use that for real?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All I have are 30-30s. I don't have a crossbow.
Yeah, that's intense.
I guess I can sit out there with a 30-30. It wouldn't hurt anything.
We're gonna this is gonna feed me this winter. Right here, buddy. Supply chains and fuel prices and ESG be damned. I'm gonna get myself some venison here, maybe even this weekend.
Yeah, go for
He
it.
just can't get caught hunting with that thing because he's not crippled.
What? Okay, explain later. Explain later.
Right.
Yeah, but now it's winter time, so I can send you biltong to where you live, very, very far away. So let me know your address and I'll send you some. I made some the other day. I don't know what the fuck the fat does not render properly. Like I had to cut all my fat off the
Probably
last
too
one I
humid
made.
down here.
It's not about humidity. It works or it fucking doesn't work. The cow is old or
There's
it's
something
fucking
wrong
not.
with you. Then.
No. I can only hang it, and that's all I can do. I can't fucking put magic on it.
You should probably try magic.
No, but yeah, it's winter, so it's easier to ship because it's not gonna get like too like moisty and moldy. So send me your address, and I'll wait for the dead of winter, and I'll send you some.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm always about biltong. The biltong you brought us to that thing at Buck's place in Texas was awesome.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's time. So I can like send you some. Just give me some time to make it and test it because the last stuff I sent out, that fat wasn't good. It traumatized me. This time the fat wasn't good either. I mean, I cut it off. I'm not too mad, but to saying that it has to be perfect. But yeah, send me your address and then I'll make some and I'll send it over
All right.
in the coldness.
This
Thank
is
you.
nobody
Thank you,
that watches this is going to expect this little segment of the conversation.
What? Are we still on the
Oh
telephone?
yeah, it's still on.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
You're live.
Oh my god. Okay, no one told me that. You know I don't like to be on live television.
You got ambushed.
You said come hi, say hi to Gord. You
Well,
didn't say-
and all the one people that
Oh,
is watching.
I'm pretty sure that's Gord. Pretty sure that's just Gord, right?
I'm sure it's Steve.
Oh, there's another person. Oh,
somebody.
what the fuck ever. All right, it is what it is at this point.
Wow. We're super popular on a Friday night.
Yeah, one person. Woohoo! Guys, I'm smashingly impressed.
Well, this is my first live stream, so
Eh,
I just
eh,
happen to choose a day that I can
I
barely
think-
speak.
I think impressed and breast rhyme, don't they?
Yep. I want to say it does.
Impressed with breasts.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now that I've gone live, I think I want to go off.
You're done being live.
Bye, God. Bye, God. Love you.
Love you
See you
too.
again.
All right. Where were we?
I don't know. We were talking about biltong. No. Yeah. So when you're, I don't know, man. I'm really nervous about the trucking industry going forward.
Me too. That's why I say what I do. I'm nervous about it as well.
Yeah. I mean, and you and I have been involved in the industry for a long time. It's I don't remember a time in the 20 years I've been driving truck where it felt like there could be a point in time where there would be more drivers than there were trucks.
Well, I mean, there are always more drivers than trucks because there's the industry doesn't do what it needs to keep the good people around. That number will fluctuate, of course, but like, you know, it's been proven by Stephen Shelley and various others that there's more people with CDLs than we understand. And so as a lot of people have come into the business, had or acquired a CDL, worked in it, discovered they were being ripped off and it was a waste of their time, and then left. So there's a lot of people. I mean, then there's diehards like me and you and others that like, this is all we know and we do it anyway. But like,
well, I mean, I always felt like I kind of got stuck in it, right?
I don't know about stuck, but like, I mean,
well, it was a situation where I was paying child support on 3 kids.
Well, that's stuck. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was finally making enough money to where I could pay my child support and live. And it was like if I left trucking, then I wouldn't be able to pay child support and survive. So I was stuck there. Wait. All right. So, all right. People are watching the stream or DMing Beatrix. That's what's happening here.
Are they asking her dirty things? What's happening? Are they asking her for biltong?
They were asking her for nudes, which I don't blame them. But so you and I, like, all right, where was I? Oh, yes. So I got to a situation where I was making enough money to pay child support and survive. If I would have left the industry, I would have had to start all over with another industry. I kind of got stuck there. And then my second marriage went to shit. So then I had child support on 2 more kids, right?
Yeah,
and
you got stuck some more. Yeah.
So it's like 20 years I'm just in this industry.
Yep.
Because I can't go anywhere.
Well, no, this is the thing, and it's like your own personal situation.
But they never increased the amount of money that I was making. They never matched the inflation that was happening around me.
No.
In order for me to be comfortable, I just couldn't move. It was like being in a fucking soft guillotine, right? I had my chin tucked, but I mean, I couldn't get out of it because the guy had a fucking a body triangle on me, or some shit like that. It's like,
I mean,
hey,
it wouldn't surprise.
All right. Come say hi. You're live. He's live. He's live.
Oh man, yes. Look at this. Look at this beast. Look at this beast.
Yeah. I just got to watch my face.
Look at this beast.
All right.
Well, it should come as no surprise that, like, Robespierre and the American Trucking Association are the same people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, the issue is, Tommy, that, like, there's some jobs that they pay you just enough to keep you, and which prevents you from, like, going to retrain. I considered, like, going back to, like, trade school to become an electrician and to do other stuff, but what the problem is once you hit a certain age and you're used to a certain income, taking the hit to go back and retrain and then to, like, lose money for 5 or 6 years to get back to where you started from before you make more, that interregnum is hard for a lot of people to cover.
Right. And in trucking, you hit a position where you don't go forward anymore.
No, that's right. It's just enough to keep you around.
Yeah, exactly. They've capped it at just the right spot to make it uncomfortable to go back.
Right.
But you want to move forward.
Right. Exactly. And one of the things, so, like, we see the trucking industry isn't the only business where they, like, complain they can't get more people.
Oh no, I would imagine there are a lot of businesses the exact same thing.
And the rest of the trades do this as well. Oh, we need HVAC technicians. Oh, we need welders. Oh, we need electricians, which is all well and good, but, like, none of the people that want them are willing to, like, bump up the wages. Like, there's all kinds of people our age, in our late 30s, early 40s, whatever, who would love to retrain and get back into the trades now that we've had 20 years of experience out there in the market and realized we're just getting fucked.
Right.
Like, if I could go from where I'm at now to an entry-level journeyman electrician or welder and start over again without losing money, I would do it. The problem is they won't do that because now I'm competing with guys that are 18 that are fine with making $12 an hour for minimum wage or whatever to start their apprenticeship.
Right.
I can't eat that loss. I have kids to feed. So there's this catch-22 situation, which a lot of people find themselves in, and it's not unique to trucking, but, like, that's the one we know.
Yeah. And it's like, I just wonder, one of the things libertarians talk about a lot is without the regulations, without the regulatory state, the financial compensation would be so much different.
It
And
would
so
be.
I can't help but wonder how much different it would be in the trucking industry, given the danger, the amount of time we spend away from family and all of this. I can't help but imagine that.
I've had the same thoughts, and all they need to do is just, this is the most libertarian argument ever. Stop giving them money. Just stop.
Yeah.
If the training end of it, the CDL mills was no longer received any government money whatsoever, be it the schools getting it directly in the form of subsidies or grants, or the trainees themselves getting it from like unemployment programs or the feds or whoever, just cut them off. Just cut them off completely. Right. Everybody. Nope. You have to figure it out yourselves. Then they would overnight would have to start paying people more to keep them around, and they would have to improve the conditions, because the only reason that trucking is in this weird stasis and won't try and improve things for the people that work in it is because it's too easy to replace us. And part of the reason, not all, but part of the reason, and I've said this a million times, it's not new, is that the government subsidizes the creation of new drivers. And a lot of those drivers suck. A lot of them cause a lot of accidents.
Steering wheel holders.
Not to say that people shouldn't try, not to say that anybody shouldn't be given a chance. Unfortunately, this system incentivizes a lot of people into the business that have no place
but
here.
I mean, whether it's you or me or Quincy or Reed, there are only so many of us, right?
Hey, speaking of Reed, how's that guy doing? Like, does he exist off Telegram? Like, he's been kicked off Twitter again?
Yeah, no, I was texting with him yesterday or the day before yesterday. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's gonna be I think actually tonight he's on Eric Jackman's show live tonight. So
good.
We're competing with him right now.
I'm not competing with anybody. You asked me to talk, so I'm talking. If there's zero people watching or 100 watching, I would still be here, and I don't give a fuck.
Still be talking.
Right? Don't care. You asked me to show up, I'm here.
All right, so we're at an hour and 7 minutes, but I have one more thing I want to cover with you, because this is one of those storylines we hear all the time, is that there are not enough truckers, right? We hear it all the time. Yeah, exactly. And explain what's happening. Why is it that people think there aren't enough truckers? What is going on?
No, because it's simple. It's just like everything else. The media lies. That's it.
Yeah, but there's more to it.
Well, I mean, there's more to it insofar as like, no, actually, no, there isn't. I'm gonna argue that. I'm gonna say no, Tommy. I disagree. There isn't more to it. The media lies, and when I say the media, the trucking media, the trucking companies, they just lie. Everybody's lying. It's all a lie.
Oh, so you're gonna make me explain what happens?
You're the host. Fucking give her shit, buddy. This is your show.
All right. So the fact of the matter is the U.S. government is subsidizing trucking companies, especially the big regional trucking companies, the legacy carriers, as you like to call them. And by doing so, they're able to give $500, $600, $1,000 bonuses to truckers that have never driven for a living, and hire them at a lower wage than an experienced truck driver. There's a reason that truckers like you or I that have been driving for 20 or 30 years go to local jobs. And it's because we're making as much money working locally as we were driving 48 states? Why am I making as much money driving local as I was driving 48
because
states?
the people at the bottom end of the freight carriers, the big freight carriers, who are the biggest abusers of the corporate welfare CDL mill system, are literally paying their people that low that even when you adjust for the fact that like local guys also get paid crap because the competition for local jobs is higher, it's just they're just not getting paid enough. So like, yeah, I it doesn't surprise me that a fella in your position is making more money than someone hauling freight that's a recent CDL graduate, because that's how bad it's gotten.
Well, and that's the point. Like, you would have experienced good truckers hauling freight if you were paying the good truckers to haul freight, but you are getting subsidized by the government and you're able to like just usher in one. I mean, I can't tell you how many classes of 11 or 13 people I've seen go through these legacy carriers
Sure.
week after week after week after week. They hire 11 to 15 people every fucking week.
Oh,
And
if
like,
not, if
and
not
it's
more.
not even half of them make it
Yeah,
more than a couple of months.
That's just what you're seeing with your eyes at your local terminal, and then multiply that times however much cross country.
However many terminals, and then you take in all the different carriers that are doing that. Like, it's incredible. And so they don't feel like they have to come off of any money for people like you and I.
No, you mentioned I don't mean to change the subject. You mentioned that like the one person watching us is Steve. Is that Steve Johnson in Missouri?
Oh, no. I was making a joke about Steve Fox, my new sponsor for Fox and Sons Coffee.
Oh, okay.
If you want, hey, this dude taught me into buying a French press, you fucking fancy motherfucker.
So I'm not a fancy mofo. I make cold brews. So I take a mason jar like this, and I put about that much coffee in the bottom, then add water, and I'll let it sit on my counter for a day and a half, and then I put it in a French press to get the beans out, and then I just reheat it on my stove.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't even know what the hell a French press was if you wouldn't have brought one to Lockhart.
I did too, didn't I?
Yeah. So I bought a new coffee grinder and a new French press.
I am
just
that
to
guy.
Drink this brilliant fucking coffee.
Speaking of Lockhart, does anybody we know went to Chicago this weekend for Thad's thing up there?
No. As far as I know, he wasn't wearing fake boobs, so I wasn't going.
I like fake. That whole thing started not far from me, so that was the Halton District School Board in Oakville, which is a suburb of Toronto.
Yeah.
And basically without traffic on a good day, like a half-hour drive from where I grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah, and it still remains undetermined and unspecified whether or not that guy
is a troll or not.
Is a troll that was like trying to like bring it.
Well, it's a great troll if he is.
Yeah, no. So a real good friend of mine, my buddy Andrew in Ottawa, thinks it's a troll, and this guy is actually trying to save Western civilization by like making fun of this.
Dude, that would be the best troll, because like everybody could accuse you of trolling and you still couldn't lose your job.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's the inversion of the catch-22. It's the win-22. You win either which way you go.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But no, the only person I know that's going to be there is James Gentleman.
And Blackbird.
Yeah. and that's because he works with Thad. So
Yeah. No, good day, James. If you're listening at some point,
he'll
how's it
he'll
going?
listen to this.
But we still don't know if you're actually recording.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We might have to record again.
Yeah, we may. Listen, so I don't mean to run away, but I've been up
No,
since forever.
it's over an hour. Like we're good. So
Yeah.
plug away, man.
Autonomoustruckers.substack.com, at driver autonomy on Twitter. Those are the only two places you'll find me. I mean, yeah, I've written a couple things at Newsweek, American Conservative, Compact Magazine, IM 1776, Unheard. I've put a few things out there. Just search my name, Gord McGill, GordMagill. I'm hoping to put out more. There's going to be a bunch of stuff coming out, like right around the new year, at the end of the year. If I get laid off, I'm probably going to lean into it and write even more. As you've been able to pick up through this conversation, there's lots happening with the trucking industry, which is a microcosm of the rest of the economy and what's happening. So, like, insofar as it might seem ridiculous to listen to a couple of drunk idiots like us talk about the trucking business, there is some connection to other problems with the economy and culture as a whole, as represented in
How do
the
you think
issues
your
we're
food gets
discussing.
to the grocery store? It doesn't go
Yeah.
on the goddamn shelves, you
Well,
fucking morons.
No, that's right. And all of these things are interconnected. But I mean, I hope one day, I mean, as much as we're laughing about this, it is still serious. And I hope people that are in positions closer to power that can do stuff about this are laughing about it less and actually taking on what we're saying and trying to correct it.
Yeah, I know, because we only laugh about it because there's nothing we can do about it.
No, I mean we're just shit posters on the internet. We're just a couple of guys. No, seriously. It's not like trying to be false modest. I mean, we are just literally two dudes who've been empowered by the technology made available to us that's relatively cheap, and our opinions, such as they are, can be broadcast out into the universe,
right?
Much like a gazillion other podcasts, a gazillion other YouTube people, a gazillion other whoever, right? Like we're not that special.
Yeah,
we really aren't.
No doubt.
So,
but hey, thanks, Gord, man. I appreciate you doing my first live stream, man. So,
all right, yeah. No,
I think somebody saw it. So,
yeah. Well, Tommy, as always, thanks for having me, man. And if it's hard for me to travel because I got two little ones. But like, if you ever end up coming up this way, man, me Casta Su Casta, come hang out.
For sure, brother. I love you, dude.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a good night.